What's up, everybody? Welcome to a virtual ComicCon. This is so cool. The cast and director of New Mutants. Very odd circumstances, of course, for a ComicCon. But I appreciate y'all joining us. We have Josh Boone, director, Charlie Heaton, Henry Zaga, Alicia Braga, Blue Hunt. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now, first of all,
thank you so much.
Listen, have you guys seen the movie yet?
Heck yeah. Yes, thank God.
I've seen it more times than anybody would ever want to see a movie.
As somebody who is waiting so long to see this movie, I have to ask, how is it?
It's pretty cool.
I can say honestly that it's the movie that we set out to make. Absolutely. We got to release the movie that we shot and release my director's cut. So I'm very happy.
That's awesome. So there's never going to be a release the Boone cut trending on
God,
Twitter.
No. God, like I don't want anybody to have to watch this multiple. I have to watch some other version.
Although I love the sound of that. Boone cut.
Oh, do some fun extra stuff.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so we're gonna go around the room here. I have questions for everybody, and if anybody wants to jump in and add to anything anybody says, please do. Let's have fun with it. Blue, I want to start with you. You're playing Moonstar, which is so cool. And Moonstar's powers, like from comics and what it looks like in this movie, can be very trippy, can be very creepy, maybe a little bit in this instance. But also, I feel like they could be really important to the story we're seeing this time around. So, how was it to kind of dive into like telepathy and illusions and all that kind of stuff? How do you do that on set?
Well, I guess I'm kind of lucky because, well, not lucky because it would have been fun to like, be going like that. But her powers, I mean, telepathy, I never, do this or anything. And anyways, she's just kind of figuring it out anyways. So I don't think she has any idea that's going on at all. So I never really had to act like I had superpowers or when if she's getting super powery, I didn't really have to do anything because it's like an invisible power, really. She doesn't have any physical affectation I got kind of off easy. So
she had to do the harder stuff in some ways. She had really a very difficult role because she's the new one coming into sort of an established place. And has to
which I was in real life.
In real life too, and had to go through a lot of emotions to get us through the movie. So she has a lot she had to do.
That sounds pretty cool. Did you go read any kind of books or anything to prepare? Because I mean, these characters in Marvel Comics, they pop up in so many places, and it seems there's some clear influences. But did you guys dive into anything particular to study your character?
Well, this is based very much on the Demon Bear run that Chris Claremont and Bill did in the 80s. So, I mean, giving them that material and that specific run was sort of the first steps towards except for Alicia, she had a very different problem because she's not in those. But everybody else, really, I sent them that stuff, and Bill was with us for some of it. And we just tried to give them access to the material that we based it on.
Very cool. Did you maybe this is a spoiler. Did you give any comics creators any cameos or anything?
No, because this movie doesn't allow for any cameos without giving too much away.
That's fair. That makes sense. And now, Henry,
pop up in this one.
Henry, you play Sunspot, which is it's interesting. This character was very briefly played in live action in X-Men: Days of Future Past, but I feel like we're really going to get to dive in this time. So, what did you kind of do did you do anything to like acknowledge that, or did you how did you kind of make sure you have the definitive version of Sunspot in movies?
Well, I actually geeked out a little bit when I got the role and I bought the original comics and try to understand where all these, writers and illustrators try to put on a page, but also Josh and Nate created tonally something very similar, but also its own standalone version of this character, and I had to honor both. So it was really up to my interpretation and sensitivity, I think, to navigate this with their vision. There's just so much that you can geek out on the comics, but I hope my translation was what they intended, and it was just such a fun character to play. He has his humor is his fake shield of confidence, because he doesn't really have any. He puts it up to, hide his fear, which is his traumas and power. So yeah, it was a really fun character to play.
That's cool.
Yeah, which I'd say, like everybody in the movie, all the characters are dealing with past trauma and things that have sort of put them in the situation they're in. So it all becomes, I don't know, an examination, yes, of the character from the comic, but also hopefully maybe a deeper examination of what having powers would actually be like in real life, which we think would be really scary and not so much like a cool thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I remember when Fantastic Four came out, Michael B. Jordan on that set as Human Torch was wearing like a crazy rig to give off like the light on set. And I mean, Human Torch and Sunspot kind of similar in that appearance. Did you have to wear anything crazy to kind of create that environment?
No, Josh lit me on fire every day, man.
We've all got.
No, yeah, we have to deal with a bunch of dots on our faces and mocaps and stuff, which is really fun, but also ridiculous, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you're wearing a onesie. Incredibly fun to use your imagination that way. You can't think of yourself as wearing a onesie. You're in flames and incredibly powerful, and that power is traumatizing. So there's so many layers to that. You can't even pay attention to the VFX part of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But while he's in his headspace that he just said, we're on set kind of laughing a little bit.
No.
Like, really, guys? Really? That was my best.
Alicia, I'm going to turn to you now. You're playing Dr. Cecilia Reyes, who in comics, she doesn't really want to be a hero. She wants to be like the most normal of everybody, but she always ends up
But nowadays, she would be a hero, right? During this pandemic.
Exactly.
Oh my God, yeah.
But as Josh mentioned, not a part of the Demon Bear story, but is a part of a lot of X stories. So, how would your character, the personality of your character of wanting to just kind of take it as easy and normal as possible, how does that compare? Because I feel like you're getting roped in with this gang here of unlikely heroes that all have their pasts that you're inheriting.
It's so interesting because the way that Josh created the script, him and Nate, which is a dear friend of Josh from childhood, it's the co-creator of the film, right, Josh? Like they had a specific vision for this world. And I think for this character, it was very interesting to dig deep and understand who was Cecilia Reyes and all that, but who she was in the lives of each one of these new mutants, like what was her influence into their development and what she wants from each one of them. So it was really interesting to figure out what her motive was, and also to think a backstory of being someone that is a doctor, of being someone that is very much committed to studying and to being committed to a cause and all that. So it was very interesting to develop that. And also being this person that is guiding these kids, these new mutants, that they're figuring their world, their role in the world and who they are and all that. So it was very interesting to find that way, she based on the comics that she avoids to being a superhero. She's just a mutant, but she wants to focus on the career and all that, but also to get that and put into the world that Nate and Josh developed. It was a really nice challenge, and it was beautiful to see that, connected to the work that each one of them are figuring out, meaning each new mutants, they're getting to know themselves into this world, but this weird environment, which is this dark place that Josh and Nate created. So it was a nice ride to create that.
I can't wait to see this. You guys are getting me so hyped. And you went from the production of this, and you jumped comic lines. You went to DC for the Suicide Squad. How did those two experiences compare? I mean, working with James, working with Josh. How did the Marvel DC kind of the frenemies line compare?
It was crazy. I mean, for me, it was really interesting to experience the different sides of fans, because it's a very passionate world. And it's amazing because you really get the difference of it, but also there's the same people that are just crazy about comics. So I mean, it's fun. I cannot say much about Suicide Squad, but it was really cool to see because they're very, very different characters, you know, like very different characters in a way that completely different worlds, but with the same passion, with the same kind of fan base. So it's fun. I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting to be part of both worlds, definitely.
I bet. And now, Charlie, man, we catch a glimpse of your Cannonball's powers in the trailer. We see you kind of getting started, man. That is such a cool power set. Like, just walk me through your perspective of how Cannonball operates and how much we're going to get to see of that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you do get to see, you know, some of the Cannonball powers. For me, coming onto it, you know, in the beginning, I had this kind of knowing what his power was. Like, I was really expecting to be like swinging on ropes the whole time, and we had to come up with this idea of, well, how do I do it? And it looked very like what I had to do on set was so lame. Literally, like, you know, kind of do this action, and then it'd be like, okay, Charlie, now step out of frame. like shuffle out of frame. So, but now, you know, no, seeing the trailer and getting to see it actually, and, you know, seeing the movie and getting to see it, I was like, oh, there was a moment, you know, when I'm doing my plan, I was like, wow, I'm flying, but it definitely didn't feel like that on set.
But it's really cool to see, like that Charlie was saying in another interview, but it's been really beautiful to see their work as as actors, how much they brought the physicality of it to help understand the emotion of the character. Meaning, like, for him, everything is so hidden, but when you see the character, he hides a lot of things about himself, and he really digs it in. So when it explodes as Cannonball, it's completely related to the work that Charlie was doing. So it was beautiful to watch. But it was funny as well.
That's so much trust. That's so much trust in your filmmaker and your director. That's who I'm going to next. And Josh, I mean, this has been the most bizarre road to release, I think, for any movie. It's we've all been anticipating it. I can't wait. Has the delays kind of given you any opportunity to has the movie benefited from that? Have you taken any opportunities to add things to that?
Well, I mean, we were never, because of the merger, we didn't have the opportunity to do what really every movie does, which is do pickup shots or reshoot a couple things or shoot a couple additional things. So really, I was able to finish the movie with just what we shot on set. So the movie hasn't changed that dramatically between before the merger and after the merger. It's just gotten a little more fine-tuned, and now it has visual effects that are finished, which were sort of the big thing that was missing when the merger happened. That whole aspect of it shut down. So we only got to see kind of finished visual effects this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. So that blows my mind that you just got to that point. That's crazy. But so, I mean, there's like with all the uncertainty of movie theaters and everything, I want to see this in a theater, but in today's landscape, a lot of movies are going to like on demand and stuff like that. As a filmmaker, does that kind of like scare you that could be a thing, or like, what is your opinion on that sort of stuff? Like going from a theatrical release plan to on demand possibility?
Well, I mean, I don't really get scared about stuff like that. I just want as many people to see it as possible, and for everybody who wants to see it to be able to see it. So obviously, if we can do it theaters, that's always my first choice. But like, if Disney came to me and said they were going to stream it, I'd be like, awesome. Then everybody can watch it. It'd be great.
Yeah. Listen, at this point, I just can't wait. I'll watch it however you guys let me watch it.
That's so sweet. But it's beautiful because all the fans always say that. I mean, like, it's such a great fan base for the X-Men world that I think that's the most important thing.
So, okay, and so my last things for you now, given the rich world of Marvel, there's two cinematic worlds, so I'm going to ask this question on both fronts. First, I'm going to start with the X-Men. Which X-Men character and cast member would you most like to kind of get a chance to operate in that world with and share a scene with?
I'd say, I mean, in the X-Men world, like Fassbender's Magneto, because I just think he's amazing, and his intensity, and be like, I want to feel what that intensity feels like in real life, because on screen it's like, oh, that'd be mine.
Charlie Heaton, I want to feel Fassbender's
Can't see.
Put that on the commercial, the movie commercial.
No, he's incredible.
Yes.
And like
He's a
ever
brilliant
since
actor, yeah.
seeing First Class, it was just like, wow. Yeah.
Well, one thing I'd say real quick is like, this film was a lot like those films, and like they really did cast to the nines and got really great actors to be in those movies, which is I think why those movies work so well.
Right. Yeah, the casting has always been spot on. And the last thing now, let's do that same question with the Avengers characters who it's separate worlds. So, and we have accepted that by this point. Who from the Avengers do you think would be the most fun to kind of get a scene with and get some action in there?
I think Thor, because Chris is really funny.
I love it. I love it. What's that?
Thor's a good one. I was gonna say Spidey, because I was always a fan, and I think he's doing a great job, and he's hilarious as it. And the movies are really fun too as standalone. So maybe that one's my one.
Well, maybe one day the multiverse will tie it all together. We'll see. Give us the Spidey Sunspot crossover. We'll see. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. I know you have a busy day, and it's really cool. Thank you for taking time out of your Comic-Con schedule to join us on Comicbook.com. I can't wait to see the New Mutants. I know everybody feels the same way. So enjoy the ride. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.